channel, and today I want to conclude the videos that I've been doing for the past weeks, talking about stress. If you're new here in my channel, please consider to subscribe and also press that notification bell that is down there on your screen, and also consider going back to my videos because you'll be able to follow up what I've talked about, stress, what it is, how it affects us, and ways that we can use, or techniques or skills that we can put in place to control and to overcome this stress. But just want to remind you that it doesn't mean that we are able to remove completely stress from our lives. We still have stress, but using the skills that I've mentioned in my previous video, we'll be able to reduce the amount of damage and effect that stress can cause into our lives. Therefore, go back there and watch those videos, and you'll be able to understand what I'm talking about. So today I just want to conclude this subject, stress, and I'll touch on two areas. The first area is talk about the kind of stresses that we get, or answer the question, how long does stress last? So the first kind of stress is what we call a short-term kind of stress. This means this is a kind of stress that does not stay so long with us. It's something that stays for a while and it goes away. And if somebody is able to put in place the techniques and the skills that I talked about that helps to fight stress, then somebody will be able to control this stress within a very short time. And another kind of stress is what I'll say a long-term kind of stress. And this one takes a while. This one is not an easy thing to deal with. So once it does happen, then it will take a while for us to get control of it, or even treat it, or even overcome it. And how do we know, or how does this two kind of stress come into our lives? It will depend on the kind of changes, the kind of transition that has happened in one's life. If the transition that has happened in your life is a smaller transition or a smaller change, then the kind of stress that will come on your way will be a short-term kind of stress. But if the kind of transition or the changes that has happened in your life is a huge kind of change, or a great kind of change, then the kind of stress that will come on your way will be a long-term kind of stress. And just to put things straight, I want to say that both the short-term and long-term kind of stress can be controlled, or can be taken care of using the techniques and the skills that I had pointed out in my previous video. So if you've not watched those videos, then I urge you to go back to them, and they'll help you to understand some of those things that I'm talking about. And therefore, the using of those techniques and those skills that I've pointed out in the previous video will help us to regulate, to control, to overcome some of these stresses that come in our way. It helps us to overcome, or to help our physical bodies from the stresses that we are going through. It will help our emotional, our emotions or our feelings to fight against the stresses that we face. It will also help our minds on dealing with the stresses that come along our ways. Therefore, just to repeat that, is that those techniques are very important. And I think we talked about exercises, playing sports. We talked about eating a balanced diet. I remember we talked about sleeping well, at least 8 hours a night or a day, I mean. We talked about saying no to some additional responsibilities that you might be given at work, planning yourself well during the day, or having a good plan for the month or the year. All those are techniques that we can really put in place when we are dealing with stress, whether it is a long-term kind of stress or short-term kind of stress. But I want to move a notch ahead and say that sometimes those techniques or those skills alone will not help us as much as we need, because we have some kind of stresses that are beyond that. And when we get such a stress in our lives, that is when we should seek for help. And then the question that I want to put across in this video is, when should we seek for help? When should somebody who is stressed seek for help? I want to point a few things that will help us, or will be like a reminder that we need to see or to seek for help. The first thing that will tell or will show that we need help is when we feel that we have been overwhelmed, that the stress that we are going through has overpowered us, have overcome us. We are not able to control it. We are not able to take care of it. We cannot sleep. We cannot eat well. We cannot go to work. We cannot study. We cannot do our day-to-day activities. Then that is a sign that we need to seek for help. And at the end of this video, I'll point to some of the places that we can go for help. The other thing that can be a sign that we need to seek for help is when somebody begins to use drugs to fight the stress that one has, or alcohol. One begins to drink or starts to drink alcohol to cope with the kind of stress he's going through. One using even over-the-counter medication, maybe sleeping pills and other kinds of pills to deal with the stress that one has. That is a clerical call that you need to see or to seek for help. Although, also, when somebody begins to think about hurting himself, be it just hurting yourself in any way, maybe cutting yourself, or you don't see yourself as anything, or you think about killing yourself, committing suicide, or committing, or just finishing, killing yourself, when you don't see meaning in life anymore, then that is a time that you need to seek for help. And not only yourself, but when you start also thinking about causing harm to others, maybe killing other people, or maybe causing harm to them, beating them up, or doing something wrong, something bad to these people, then that is a clerical call that you need to seek for help. Then where can we go for help when we have these kind of signs? The first place that can be so helpful is for you to see a doctor, a medical doctor. You can go see the doctor, explain what you're going through, and in a way, a doctor can be helpful. He can help you. Especially we have the psychiatrists who are able to treat you. They can prescribe some medication, do some tests and prescribe some medication for you, and you'll be able to be helped. Another area that you can go for help, sometimes even the psychiatrist or the doctor can refer you to a counselor or a therapist, somebody who can talk with you, who can help you to deal with that situation that you are in. So you can see a counselor, you can see a therapist, or somebody who is trained to do that. We have professional therapists and counselors who can help you to overcome the kind of stress that has overwhelmed you, that has led you into now doing other things, into addiction and other kind of things, and that will help you to come out of that. So in conclusion, I want to say that we have a lot of help. Don't feel embarrassed. Don't feel that you've been overwhelmed. You've been overwhelmed by that stress, but take a step. Just go seek for help. You know, once you talk to people, you go to the doctor, you go to the therapist, then automatically you'll get help. Therefore, don't allow stress to overcome you and to overwhelm you, because you remember what I said, stress can advance to something else. It can go to anxiety and then move to other mental complications that you would have dealt with when it was still at a manageable stage. Thank you so much for watching this video. This is the last video in this subject, and the next time we'll be talking about something different, something new. So be sure to again follow my next video. Be sure of watching the next video, because it's here that we'll be able to educate each other and discuss issues that affect us in our day-to-day lives. Thank you for watching this video. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.